Hey everybody, it's Jen from Vine Styles. I hope you're doing well and that you're staying safe. It's time for another wine, and we're so excited that it's an exclusive at Vine Styles. So you can only find this bad boy at Vine Styles. What we're going to be trying today is going to be a Carménère. And have you guys ever had a Carménère? If not, then stick around. This is going to be really fun because we don't typically see Carménères in single varietals in France, but we are starting to see a little bit more single varietals from Chile, which is interesting. And I'm going to talk about the differences of a Chilean Carménère versus France Carménère. So stick around. Yay! The Domaine Julien and Fils is actually a small family-run private cellar. They actually have 5 generations of wine growing and production in their family, and they actually acquired this property in the early 90s. The Domaine de Cabrials is actually part of the Domaine Julien and Fils, with Bernard Julien as the winemaker. He's actually renewed and developed a lot of the Cabrial vineyards, covering about 60 hectares. So the goal here is to create an exceptionally well-priced, high-quality wine ready to drink. The vine growing methods here follow the high environmental value agricultural recommendations. So they really make sure that everything here is quality driven. Currently, there are 60 hectares of vines on varying altitudes. The vines do sit on sand and pebbled soils, strengthened with red clay, and this helps create an elegant and very aromatic profile with a good structure type of wines. The sand gives more of those aromatics, and the pebbled stone helps with drainage. Carménère is very sensitive to overwatering, and then the clay helps with that structure. Grapes are harvested at maturity, which is very important that they're not harvested too early, and then they're brought back to the winery where they are destemmed so that there's no extra tannins, and then after that it's macerated in vats for about 5 weeks under temperature control, and then aging into vats until bottling. So there's actually no oak on this vintage, on this wine. So the Domaine Julien and Fils is located about 20 kilometers north of Béziers in the area of Côtes de Languedoc and Saint-Chinian, and it's one of the driest areas actually in the Languedoc-Roussillon region. And it's exposed to winds of different origins, like the Tramontane coming down from the northwest, which is a very dry and sometimes quite violent or very strong wind. And the wind coming from the southeast tends to be very stormy with a lot of rainfall. So Carménère, while it's typically used in blends, it's quite a complex old variety. This old variety originates from the Gironde region in Bordeaux, and it was first mentioned in 1783 in Bergerac. But you also have probably seen this grape in Chile. After it was rediscovered in 1994, though officially recognized in 1998, they actually thought it was Merlot that was on the vine, which is a cousin to Carménère. It has the same grape cluster formation, and it also has a similar leaf structure as well. It's actually a natural cross of Cabernet Franc and Gros Cabernet, which is also an old variety that we don't see anymore. Both parent grapes tend to have a more green sort of vegetal flavor to it, so leafy sort of tomato leaf flavors to it. And they tend to show up in Carménère as well. So these green sort of flavors come from something that's called pyrazines. Overwatering at harvest and early picking of underripe grapes of the Carménère grape tend to increase a pyrazine sort of flavor. Pyrazine flavors tend to show strong green pepper, jalapeno, and sometimes asparagus flavors. I usually see strong pyrazine notes in Chilean-style Carménère wines, which are typically going to be single varietal as well. The French style of Carménère tend to be blended, right? It is a late ripening varietal, which means that it needs high levels of sunshine and warm weather, so warm summers as well, to reach a full potential of grape maturity. Its name, they think that it comes from the red color carmine of the grape, and then they translated that to crimson, but it's more likely to be connected to the crimson color of the leaf on the vine, which turns this beautiful crimson color at the end of the season, at the end of the year, and it tends to fall off. So are you guys ready to taste? Let's do it. Let's get on with the tasting. On the capsule, you can actually see that it has B. Julien. So that's for Bernard Julien, who is the winemaker of this wine. There's also something really cool on the capsule. There's an N on the capsule, which actually means négociant. And there's a little bit of a difference with some of the négociants. They can either buy the grapes or buy the wine or buy the whole package and then label it under their own. In this case, there's a supplier that buys the wine, they're a buyer. And then from there, they do their connections and they sell it over here in Alberta. Oh, nice. Look at that cork color. Okay, let's pour. Let's smell. Wow, okay. This is smelling so good. Okay, definitely more French style. So it's a little bit more red fruit than I thought it was going to be. Typically, Carménères tend to have a lot of black fruit, blackberry, black cherry. But the first thing that I get off of this one is ripe wild strawberry. It is so pretty. It is super, super pretty. And then you do get a little bit of that black cherry and maybe some black plum on there. But it's more of a red plum and more so red plum skin. And then we get into more of a red currant, almost licorice-y-esque. And then it goes into a little bit more of a darker blueberry. It has a soft eucalyptus note. Oh, it's so pretty. It doesn't smell very vegetal to me. I've had way higher vegetal type of styles. Doesn't show any oak on it either. This is really fun. Let's taste, guys. Really nice, really fresh, great acidity. The acidity probably sits about a medium plus. The tannins are nice and ripe, but juicy, once again, because of that acidity. So it definitely sits in our smooth section. That is definitely where this wine needs to be. It just feels so fresh and nice and easy drinking, actually, on the palate. So I get that strawberry again, but it's starting to get a little bit more into those black fruit flavors. So I'm getting a little bit more of that black cherry and blueberry, and I'm also getting more pepper now. So I'm getting some peppery notes in there too. It's a little spicy on the end, but it's super nice, super easy drinking. It almost gets into a little bit of a floral note as well on the palate that I didn't necessarily get on the aromatics originally. Yeah, so that florality I think coming across is going to be a little bit more on that rose side. As it kind of sits in my glass, it has a little bit more of like a tomato leaf sort of note to it. It's more of an easy drinking weekday or even weekend barbecue sort of wine. Now we're getting into the food pairings. Food! First thing that I could see with this would be chicken wings. Maybe some salt and pepper chicken wings, easy barbecue sort of season, pork dishes in there as well. Something that's good on the grill, maybe some barbecued meats as well. We could go into a cozier beef stew too. You have like a lot of carrots, a lot of onions, then this would be great in that. A lot of tomato sauce. Like anything with a tomato sauce would go great with this, either pasta or pizza. So grilled Mediterranean vegetables like eggplant, or zucchini or grilled green pepper would go with this. And then we could go into maybe some Mexican cuisine as well. I could see some cheeses and beans and some flavorful rice dishes. So maybe even we could go into even like empanadas. This is something that I would almost have on my shelf as a, what are we gonna drink tonight? Oh, let's do the Carménère. Wicked. So the 25% off 6 packs for this is available from March 26th to April 2nd. I guess I'll see you in the next tasting video. This was really fun. Awesome. Okay, bye guys.